This is the Metal Bar, and we're very lucky to have Frank Delgado from the Deftones on the phone. G'day, Frank. How you doing?
Hello. Doing well. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Good. How you feeling about having a release date now for Ohms and actually putting some music out there with the title track coming out the other day?
Yeah, it feels good. You know, I mean, it would be nice to be able to tour on it right now, but other than that, it feels really good for people to hear it. We've been excited about it for a long time, so it feels real good for it to be out.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I remember, I think it was Abe back in June said that the album had been done for a little bit and that it was hoping to be released this year. So obviously, you know, it hasn't always been the case that it was going to be. What was that conversation about? What were the factors there for you guys?
The usual pushbacks is what usually happens. I mean, everything was done prior to the quarantine and stuff, but I think mixing we ended up doing at the very beginning of the quarantine. And I think we just kind of tried to stick to a schedule, you know what I mean? And even though we might not be able to get out there and tour on this in the immediate future, I think it was important for us to kind of move forward and get it out there, you know?
Yeah. Haven't heard the rest of the album yet, but that one song, Ohms, certainly kicks it, man. It's really, really cool.
It's good.
I love that.
I'm glad you like it. I mean, anyone that knows us, that knows, you know, there's those dynamics. So I think it's hard for us to pick a song to be the very first taste of something. But, you know, I think we were all happy.
The meaning of Ohms and why you've called the album that will always get a bit of scrutiny, of course, it does mean electrical resistance. I guess
Sure.
In the current climate, you know, with everything that's going on, not just in the States, but around the world at the moment, does it feel like there needs to be a resistance to what's going on at the top? Is that kind of maybe some of the message that you guys are putting out there?
I mean, I wouldn't say there's specific meanings. And in all honesty, like if you want definitive meanings, that would be a Chino question, honestly, because he comes to the conclusions of his lyrics and then the song titles for the most part, and that comes after the fact of the music. So none of this stuff is discussed while we're actually making music. Like when we're doing the music, that's all we're doing. And then when we're done, it's done. And then he starts his lyrics. So, but anyways, I think it has a little bit to do with all of that. You know what I mean? I think we've always been kind of leaving things open to be interpreted. And sure, I think there's more resistance is always good. You know what I mean? And I think it's just one of those things that feels and sounds right and looks good. And that's what we stuck with, you know?
Yeah, well, it does that, and that artwork's really striking as well. I mean, how much input do you guys have together on what the artwork looks like?
Yeah, I think initially we had a list of different people to work with. I think this was one of the things, that was going to be different because we actually finished this before quarantine, so we actually had how to create a video while you're in quarantine, you know? And I think we pulled it off. I think once we figured out who we wanted to work with, it was Reuniting. He's done some amazing visuals before, so that kind of worked for us. So once we figured that out, it was a matter of how we're going to do this. So we all kind of got a little team together of just one camera operator and one light guy, and we kind of just did it at our separate places of where we live, and we kind of made it work. And then Reuniting came in the post-production. I think it doesn't look like a quarantine video, you know what I mean? And that's, I think, what we were going for.
Yeah, no, it does. It certainly doesn't look like that. It looks. I think you've conveyed it with the song really well. It's kind of got a bleak landscape kind of feel to it, but at the same time with that song, the way those melody lines are, there's almost like some ray of hope in the distance as well at the same time.
Yeah, I think the way Chino explains it is that in the chorus it's more of a positive where he's painting kind of a bleak picture, but the chorus is positive. So there's always those dynamics with us. It's the push and pull, you know, the tension and the heavy and the soft and, you know, the ugly and the pretty. That's just always been Deftones, you know.
Well, what about the album artwork itself? Whose eyes are those? Every time I look at it, I think Robert Smith from The Cure.
That's funny. I think the point, you can lay it over anything and it works, you know what I mean? It's just another one of those things where we had different ideas, and this one just seemed to work and feel the best, you know what I mean? Frank Maddox, I think, brought it to our attention, and it just kind of, he's been doing our artwork for all the past years since White Pony, I think. Yeah, sometimes, you know, you want something that's a little more expressive. Sometimes you want it minimalistic, and I think that's what we were going for, you know what I mean? It's just another one of those things that look good, sound good, and, you know, the ugly and the pretty. That's just always been Deftones, you know. Well, what about the album artwork itself? Whose eyes are those? Every time I look at it, I think Robert Smith from The Cure. let's use it, you know.
It does the job. It's striking, and it certainly leaves an impression. You mentioned White Pony. You worked with Terry Date on this record again for the first time since self-titled in 2003. What was revisiting that relationship like for you guys?
It was just like what we thought it would be. You know, I think that was kind of the decision of working with him again, is that familiarity and the comfortability and just having to go straight to work and not having to kind of learn a new person. And, you know, when you start working with different people, you have to kind of relearn each other and feel how things work and the ebb and flow of things. I think with this is just like, it felt like it always has. Terry's family. Terry makes fucking great records. I think it was just part of the process to be like, let's just be as comfortable with what we're doing. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what it was. You know what I mean? Even since self-titled, every record we've questioned if we should go back to Terry. He's always on the list of when it comes time to talk producers, you know. But in all honesty, by the time we were doing White Pony, Terry's the first person that was telling us we should work with other people just so we're young, and he's given us the keys to survive in this industry. And he was the first to be telling us, you guys got to work with other people and figure it out. And forever grateful for Terry for being that type of person for us, you know.
He is key in your career, obviously, for those first 4 albums, particularly with White Pony and that change in direction. You know, I mean, it's been well documented with the 20th anniversary that you were part of, you know, that new metal wave coming through. But at White Pony, you sort of took a left when everyone else kept going straight. And I imagine Terry was a pretty big part of that, and that new direction. I mean, how did he change your job? You know, I think about a turntablist in a new metal band, you know, you kind of know exactly what they're going to do. But when that direction changed, that shift happened, how much did that change your role?
I mean, I think we were all just learning. It wasn't the easiest of getting Terry on board, I guess, with our left turns, you could say. You know, it sounds like that's the case sometimes, but we're all kind of learning from each other. And when we would try and do covers of, say, I don't remember, but maybe it was Duran cover, Terry would look at us like we're fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? You know, like, but I think by us doing that with him, he sees, he feels, he gets. And I guess you could say the same for me, being young and trying to click and stay up to par with these 4 other guys in the band. And I don't even have an instrument. I just got a bunch of records and some fucking guitar pedals. But seeing that I'm trying to implement it in a different way, Terry was able to kind of help me figure that out, I guess you could say. In all honesty, it's just all of us trying to figure it out. There's nobody that's carrying a flag and saying this is how you do it and this is what you do. And it's still to that day, that process of us just, man, we know what we like, and we're just going to kind of follow that to try and get to that, you know. It's just a learning process.
Have you guys jammed the new stuff live yet? We're in rehearsal yet? Have you figured out how you're going to deliver some of that stuff?
No, we haven't. We've been in quarantine. We finished the record right before quarantine, and then we finished the mixes while on quarantine. So we were getting emails every day of songs, sending them back and, you know, back and forth, but I haven't been anywhere since then.
Now, I understand that on the song Pompeii, there's going to be Seagulls. Is that going to be your job to deliver live? You're going to have to deliver the Seagulls?
Maybe. I don't know. I think the Seagulls, they're just a sample that was added to a part, so maybe Abe can trigger it. I think there was one point where we had crickets in a song. I think Abe triggers those.
He can be the zoologist. You just leave the animals to him.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Frankie. And thanks very much for your time, bro. Really appreciate it.
All right. Take it easy out there. Be safe.
Yeah, you too, man. You too. And, here's hoping this craziness goes away real soon and we can see you guys on stage, eh?
Have a good one.